Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. President Trump campaigned on the promise to secure our homeland and deport violent alien criminals from our communities. That is why the American people overwhelmingly reelected him back to this office, and it's why the American people defeated the Democrat Party in devastating fashion. Today, we have officially learned Democrat officials still refuse to accept the will of the American people. Maryland Democrat Senator Chris Van Hollen rushed to Dulles Airport this morning to fly to El Salvador, potentially using taxpayer dollars, to demand the release of deported, illegal, alien MS-13 terrorists. The Democrats and the media in this room have continually and wrongly labeled Kilmar Abrego Garcia as a Maryland father. There is no Maryland father. Let me reiterate. Kilmar Abrego Garcia is an illegal alien, MS-13 gang member and foreign terrorist who was deported back to his home country. And when Kilmar Abrego Garcia was originally arrested, he was wearing a sweatshirt with rolls of money covering the ears, mouth, and eyes of presidents on various currency denominations. This is a known MS-13 gang symbol of hear no evil, speak no evil, see no evil. Abrego Garcia was also arrested with two other well-known members of the vicious MS-13 gang. And two separate judges found that Abrego Garcia was a member of MS-13, and that finding has never been disputed. And just this morning, it was revealed through Maryland court documents that Abrego Garcia's wife petitioned for an order of protection against him for 2 instances of domestic violence in May of 2021. And here is the order right here. The court ordered that the respondent committed the following acts of abuse. Once in May of 2021, assault in any degree. And on May 4th of 2021, he punched and scratched his wife, ripped off her shirt, and grabbed and bruised her.
Wow, that's crazy.
This is from a court in Maryland. So not only are Democrats rushing to defend an illegal criminal foreign terrorist gang member, but also an apparent woman beater. To set all of that aside, the basic fact that he was illegally inside our country and had a lawful deportation order made him subject to removal back to his home country of El Salvador. And if he ever ends up back in the United States, he would immediately be deported again. Nothing will change the fact that Abrego Garcia will never be a Maryland father. He will never live in the United States of America again. And the United States Supreme Court ruled unanimously that the President of the United States and the Secretary of State could not be compelled to forcibly retrieve this citizen of El Salvador who is currently locked up in a maximum security prison in his home country due to his MS-13 membership. To remind the media and the Democrat Party, MS-13 are among the most vicious and dangerous individuals in this world. They pose a direct threat to the United States, El Salvador, and any other country who maintains basic law and order. MS-13 rapes innocent girls and women, runs sex trafficking operations.
I didn't know MS-13 did all of this stuff, man. That's kind of crazy.
Murders for sport and terrorizes law-abiding people.
Vehicle.
That's why El Salvador President Bukele made it clear this week that he will not.
Can't hit the like button so we can get into the algorithm. Double tap the screen and hit the 100s and all that.
Be releasing this MS-13 gang member from his prison. But that is not enough. All of that is not enough to stop the Democrat Party from their lies. The number one issue they are focused on right now is bringing back this illegal alien terrorist to America. But where are the Democrats applauding the fact that southern border crossings just hit a historic low? Where are the Democrats supporting our brave men and women of law enforcement who are putting their lives on the line every single day to arrest the violent illegal alien invaders that the previous administration allowed into our country? And where are the Democrats when innocent Americans are victimized by illegal criminals that Joe Biden let in? It's appalling and sad that Senator Van Hollen and the Democrats applauding his trip to El Salvador today are incapable of having any shred of common sense or empathy for their own constituents and our citizens. Nobody knows this more than the woman standing to my right, Patty Morin, whose beautiful daughter Rachel was brutally maimed and murdered at the hands of an illegal alien, in August of 2023. Patty no longer has her daughter because of the failed Democrat Party's open border, and these are policies that President Trump is bringing an end to. Patty should not have to be here today, but she is, and we are grateful and we are honored for her willingness and her request to share her powerful story with the world. Thank you, Patty, for being here.
Thank you. A lot of you don't know the whole story about Rachel and about the crime that was committed against her. Even us, her family, we didn't know all the details. They kept most of it close to their chest, the detectives, because they didn't want to do anything.
Brett just said First Amendment, 126 people in here. It's going to go up. Shout out to y'all. What's up, Monster?
Hurt the case. They wanted to keep the integrity of the case, so they kept everything close. I sat for the last 2 weeks in her trial, and we saw layer upon layer upon layer of evidence against the accused, an illegal immigrant from El Salvador. And the things that we thought, well, maybe this might have happened, we didn't know, but when we were at the trial, we got all the puzzle pieces. And I want to share some of those things with you. You know that Rachel's a 37-year-old mother. She has 5 children. We've walked the trail for the last 25 years that we've lived in Maryland. It's a safe place for our family. It's where we go to get a little bit of New England, because that's where we're from, New England. When she went on that trail that day, she was not planning on dying. She wasn't planning on walking to her death. She was planning on going to the grocery store with her girls afterwards. Victor Martinez, he waited for her. He waited for her to come closer. He saw her. He saw that there was nobody around. He attacked her. He dragged her 150 feet, blood gushing from her head. It left a 150-foot trail of her blood to the culverts.
Shout out to Cinema Storm, said just subscribe.
Where he picked her up, he threw her against the wall of the tunnel, and he raped her. But before he did that, he stopped on that trail, and rocks, still stained with her blood, he used them to hammer her head against those rocks. They say at least 20 times they could count the cuts in her head. They said that when they did the autopsy, and I've seen the pictures, there's a 6-inch square in the back of her head where the skull is shattered the way that you would crush an eggshell in pieces. 3/4 of her brain hemorrhaged. Her right and left side of her face bashed in.
And talking about these MS-13 members that are out here committing like unspeakable crimes, right? That's what they're talking about. And just trying to give you an accurate depiction of some of the violence and stuff like that they have done, and why they're like moving to mass deportations of these gang members.
Her beautiful face bashed in. Her head bashed in. Broken bones, fractures. He takes and he drags her some more. He drags her through the thorn bushes. She has all the scrapes and cuts on her body. There wasn't 1 inch of her body that didn't have some kind of injury, whether it's bruising, broken bones, contusions, the scratches. She had a fractured rib, fractured nose, fractured skull. And then he takes her into the tunnel and he picks her up. He throws her against the wall. Blood is gushing from her head. Her hair is soaked in blood. And they showed us pictures of her body against the wall, outlined. The blood outlined her body. And you could see where the blood ran down around her.
So they're getting met with a lot of resistance. You know, the federal government tried to or the federal judges tried to step in and stop him from the deportations and everything. And you got the liberal media out here trying to paint some of these guys as victims, like gang members as victims. So the strategy, it looks like to me, is to come to the public and say, no, this is what some of the unspeakable things that they have been committing, you know, and to try to show the public. Because, you know, like a lot of older people that kind of just watch, you know, the major news networks and not really know what's going on. Like some people would watch CNN and MSNBC, which is going to mislead you, in my opinion. And then, you know, some people watch Fox, so it's kind of, you know, depending on what side of the, you know, spectrum you're on. But like they're bringing her up here to be like, it's what's really going on, and in graphic detail she's explaining everything. So, you know, I don't know, man.
As he was raping her. And then he threw her down and raped her some more. And then he strangled her because he didn't want her to be able to live to tell the story. They said that when they did the autopsy on her neck, that one of the things they do is they open up the neck and they look to see how far the injury is. And they went all the way down as far as an injury is possible, hemorrhaging in the muscles, because of how strong and violent the group was around her. These are the kind of people that have no compulsion. Like, to them, this is nothing. And when he was sitting in the courtroom, he actually looked like he thought he was going to be set free. There was no remorse on his face at all. This person took my daughter so violently and so gruesomely and so graphically that they...
But this is kind of interesting because they've got the mom up here like explaining all of this, you know, to try to, you know, it's a way of like pulling on the heartstrings of people who have resistance to this. It's like, okay, this is an American mother that had to, you know, find out that all of this happened to her daughter.
They sealed the pictures because I don't want my granddaughters to see these pictures. These are the kind of criminals President Trump wants to remove from our country. These are the kind of criminals that we need to remove from our country. We are American citizens. Why should we allow people like this, violent criminals that have no conscience at all, to murder our mothers, our sisters, our daughters? What? I don't understand why there's even any kind of problem with this. And it's not that it's political, like the left or the right, although I understand different parties have used it in the past. But we have to look at it as we are American citizens. We need to protect our families, our borders, our children. I don't care about politics. Well, I do, but I want to preserve life. And that's the only reason why I have taken and spoken about Rachel all this time. If you're a mother here in the room, can you imagine standing there alive? You're alive, and someone comes and puts their hands into your chest and rips out your heart.
And then
That's what it feels.
somebody, I'll say something about this, even though he didn't super chat. He said MAGA cult. I mean, she just said that this is not politics. Like, Americans need to be able to be safe. This is what she just said. She said she don't really care about politics.
It feels like a part of you is being ripped out of you. You can't even describe the pain. Just like you can't describe to your husband what it feels like to carry a baby in your womb, or to feel those first kicks, or to know just intuitively if it's a boy or a girl. It's only a thing that a mother knows. Why are we not protecting the American citizens? It's just common sense. Why are we not protecting our children? And to have a senator from Maryland who didn't even acknowledge or barely acknowledged my daughter and the brutal death that she endured, leaving her 5 children without a mother and now a grandbaby without a grandmother, so that he can use my taxpayer money to fly to El Salvador to bring back someone that's not even an American citizen.
I don't know. What do y'all think about this? Somebody said U.S. citizens get due process. See what Pam Bondi talking about here.
Good morning.
Y'all can't hit the hundreds in the chat? What's up with y'all? Emojis and nothing? Wait a minute. Shout out to y'all though. Exactly. Tammy Holt said no one in America should go through this.
Good morning. With me here today, I have our great Secretary of Education,
Exactly. Just what you just said. Hey, somebody, Trip Laracy said, dude isn't even a legal citizen. He doesn't get due process.
Linda McMahon.
That's how I feel. You coming here and you committing crimes and stuff, bro.
Representative Laurel Libby of the Maine State House, Linnea Saltz of IWF Women's Sports Advocate, Stephanie Turner, a fencer, Zoe Hutchison, a Maine athlete, Cassidy Carlisle, a Maine athlete, and my dear friend, you all know Riley Gaines, who has been a champion on this issue for women. Today, the Department of Justice is announcing a civil lawsuit against the Maine Department of Education. The state of Maine is discriminating against women by failing to protect women in women's sports. Pretty basic stuff. This is a violation of Title IX. The Department of Justice will not sit by when women are discriminated against in sports. This is about sports. This is also about these young women's personal safety. I've met many of these women throughout the past weeks and months, and what they have been through is horrific. We have exhausted every other remedy. We tried to get Maine to comply. We don't like standing up here and filing lawsuits. We want to get states to comply with us. That's what this is about. We have repeatedly notified Maine of its infractions and urged them to remedy the situation to protect women. We've stripped grants from Maine through other departments, and we are going to continue to fight for women. Let me give you some examples. Let me give you a timeline. This timeline, I think, is pretty important. So in February 2024, these are just a few examples. A biological boy started competing in women's ski races and cross-country races in Maine. He came in first in the 5K with a time that would have been 43rd among men. In February 2025,
Taran said the system doesn't care.
a biological boy won first place in the pole vaulting competition in Maine's indoor track and field meet. He beat every other girl by a significant margin. That qualified him for regional championships. That took a spot away from a young woman in women's sports. Shame on him. February 21st, 2025. President Trump has the governors at the White House. President Trump has the exchange with Janet Mills. He asked her about the issue. Her response, "We'll see you in court." Well, we still didn't sue. HHS and the Department of Ed opened investigations in an attempt to get them to comply. They both found violations.
Yo, what do y'all think about this? Like, they keep on doing this. This is crazy.
And in March,
Paul Saul said, liberal Democrats, Cry me a river. Y'all got maggot.
Maine refused to comply. I want to read you this letter. This is from the Maine Attorney General to the Department of Education.
Yo, they did something with censorship in America. Let me show y'all this. She taking forever to get to the point. Shout out to Pam Bondi though. If I can find it, I don't think. I thought I retweeted it. Yeah, here it is. So it says censorship. The agency that silenced many of us here on X is no more. Secretary Rubio has notified Congress that he has eliminated all full-time staff positions and 100+ contractors at the State Department, CFIM, formerly known as the Global Engagement Center, the State Department Censorship Agency. Secretary Rubio has shut down the State Department Censorship Agency. Secretary Mark Rubio announced a shutdown of the State Department's Counter Foreign Information Manipulation and Interference Office, formerly known as the Global Engagement Center, a bloated $50 million a year operation that, instead of countering foreign threats, turned its sights on silencing the very Americans it was meant to protect. And then Marco Rubio, he says, over the last decade, Americans have been slandered, fired, charged, and even jailed for simply voicing their opinions. That ends today. I'm announcing the closure of the State Department's Foreign Counter Information Manipulation and Interference, formerly the Global Engagement Center, which cost taxpayers more than $50 million per year and actively silenced and censored the voices of Americans they were supposed to be serving. Shout out to Marco Rubio.
We will not sign the resolution agreement. We do not have revisions or a counterproposal. We agree we are at an impasse. Nothing in Title IX or its implementing regulations prohibits schools from allowing transgender girls and women to participate on girls and women's sports teams. Well, they must not be reading the same Title IX that we're reading. We believe they are failing to protect women. And it's
Yo, why is my neighbor like bumping his music so crazy right now? He waiting until I go live to do this.
not only an issue in sports, it is a public safety issue. These boys are allowed to go in women's restrooms. They are allowed to go in the women's dressing rooms and get fully naked and change in biological boys and change clothes.
Yo, that's crazy. What she just said. I've got a daughter, bro. Like, that ain't,
Go in women's restrooms. They are allowed to go in the women's dressing rooms and get fully naked and change
What do y'all think about that, bro? If you got a daughter in school and you know that is going on, that's crazy.
biological boys and change clothes in front
Yeah, thin mega TV. That is insanity.
of these young women. Maine's leadership has refused to comply at every turn. So now we have no other choice. We are taking them to court. What we are seeking an injunction to get them to stop this, stop what they're doing. That's pretty simple. And we are seeking to have the titles returned to the young
MAGA TV said, I got 2 daughters. Yeah, man. Like, this is crazy, bro.
women who rightfully won these sports. And we are also considering.
And then imagine like your daughter or something like playing volleyball, right? And then like she's going over the net, and then it's a biological male going over the net, and then they get super rough with her. And then she gets knocked out or something. You see what I'm saying? Or falls back and hurts herself. Like, how would you feel about that? You know? And then like, or she tries and she works hard for years for track field or something like that, right? And then a biological man gets in there, which, you know, it's also been training. Who do you think's gonna win that? And then she loses to that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's, I don't know, man. crazy.
whether to retroactively pull all the funding that they have received for not complying in the past. And I'm so proud of these brave young women standing behind me. I see and lots of parents in the front too, and I've met you. Thank you to the parents for supporting your daughters and telling them it's okay to fight back and stand
I
up.
would say pull the kids out of the school, but some people may not have the means to do it. You know, they may want to pull a kid out of school and put them in private school, but they may not have the means, and then they stuck in this situation. So it's and you expecting the government to kind of protect you and your kids, and this is going on.
For what they believe in. Some of these young women have endured vicious injuries too as a result of boys playing in their sports. It's my honor now to introduce to you our Secretary of Education, Linda McMahon.
Good morning, everyone. I don't think our case could have been stated any better than it was just presented by our Attorney General, Pam Bondi. And I thank you very much for your participation this morning. And I will echo Attorney General's comments about how brave these women are, these young women. And of course, Riley Gaines has been a staunch advocate for the Title IX infractions, you know, since she came on board, and we're so proud to have Riley out there as such a prominent spokesperson. So today we're announcing a weighty development in the Title IX investigation into the Maine Department of Education. We, the Department of Education, analyzed Maine's Education Department for compliance with Title IX of the Education Amendments of 1972, which prohibits sex-based discrimination in any school or education program that receives federal funding. Unfortunately, our investigation has found that Maine continues to willfully violate Title IX and to strip the civil rights of female athletes in the state. And as Pam alluded as well, it's not just about their civil rights, it's about their safety. And we, after our investigation, we found we really had no other choice. We thought the infractions warranted turning them over to the Justice Department for their further investigation. So how do we get here? On February 5th, President Trump signed the executive order.
Yeah, Lisa Ann said, how submissive must a person be to agree with this hellish nightmare?
Keeping men out of women's sports, which directed all states and educational programs receiving federal funds to cease the practice of allowing males to compete in sports programs for women. They didn't make this up. This is the law. This is Title IX. This executive order was aimed at protecting women.
Jay said in the comments, who remembers going to kindergarten and being asked what their gender is and what you can choose? Yeah.
Like fencer Stephanie Turner or volleyball player Peyton McNabb from being injured and unfairly outmatched by male
Ben Dessel said, I had a girl on my wrestling team.
athletes. President Trump didn't pull any punches. He explicitly warned Maine and Governor Janet Mills that Maine would risk...
Hey, Ben, you know what's funny? Ben Dessel just posted that, and I read his comment before I even seen that. He said Piper only reads the hug box comments aloud. I literally did I just read his comment? Like, what is he talking about, bro? Are you paying attention to me, Ben?
losing federal funding if it continued to allow males to participate in women's sports. Governor Mills...
How about you super chat, Ben? Thug life. Why you ain't doing that? I read your comment for free and you diss me?
chose to openly flout Title IX compliance, telling President Trump, and I'll repeat what the general said, we'll see you in court, and obviously we are going to. That same day, our Office for Civil Rights opened an investigation into the Maine Department of Education and Maine School Administrative District Number 51 for permitting males and girls sports and denying female-only intimate facilities.
BB the Man said, wrestling, unlike other sports, you compete in the weight category.
The department's investigation confirmed Maine's Title IX violations, and we offered Maine.
You see what I'm talking about, Mel? What it's been talking about? I didn't respond to him for free. Thug life, bitch. Thug life.
Leaders multiple opportunities to change their policy and to protect women in sports, and they have refused. So now as DOJ begins their enforcement actions, I hope Governor Mills will recognize that her political feud with the president will deprive the students in her state of much more than the right to fair sporting events. After all, compliance with federal civil rights law is a universal prerequisite for receiving federal funding. The Trump administration could not be any clearer to all states, sports leagues, and educational institutions. We take the violation.
It seems like that's really the only thing they can do. They can sue and get an injunction put into place. Like they can't seek monetary gain or nothing like that.
Of women's civil rights very seriously. I have 3 granddaughters, and I want to make sure that they are treated fairly and that they aren't exposed, in dressing rooms. We want to make sure that if you open women's sports or intimate facilities to males, you expose yourself to federal civil rights investigations. Governor Mills will definitely get her wish. We thank you all for being here this morning. Look forward to seeing you later.
Thank you, Secretary. I'd now like to introduce to you State Rep Laurel Libby from Maine, who has been a champion for these young women in the state of Maine. And thank you, Representative.
Thank you, Attorney General Bondi. It's unfortunate that we have to be here today because Governor Mills and legislative Democrats, along with the Maine Principals Association, continue to persist in discriminating against Maine women and girls. They are out of alignment with 2/3 of Mainers who believe that biological males have no place in girls' sports. Earlier this week, MSAD 70 School Board voted unanimously to align with Title IX. They're in alignment with 2/3 of my fellow Mainers. And I would encourage other school boards throughout Maine, I would exhort you to speak up for Maine girls similarly and vote to align with Title IX. I thank you to the Trump administration and AG Bondi for taking action on behalf of our girls and helping to ensure a safe, fair, and level playing field in Maine.
Thank you.
So, Frank.
President Trump, before he was elected, this has been a huge issue for him. Pretty simple. Girls playing girls' sports, boys playing boys' sports, men playing men's.
Yo, do other countries do this? I'm just asking.
Sports, women playing women's sports. And he got to know a great young woman during that time named Riley Gaines. And we are all so proud and honored to have her here with us. Riley has been a champion nationally for this issue. Riley, please join us.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, goodness gracious, it's an honor to be here, to stand beside, of course, Secretary McMahon, Attorney General Bondi, these amazingly brave athletes, Representative Libby. But truthfully, I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated that we have to be here, that we as women have to stand before you all on national television demanding equal opportunities, demanding privacy in areas of undressing, demanding safety in our sports. Amazing to me that we are still here fighting this fight, that the Democratic Party has really doubled down, tripled down, quadrupled down on their ridiculous stance, but that's exactly what they've done. Let me tell you what sports has done in my life. Of course, in terms of athletic achievement, I very proudly finished my career as a 12-time NCAA All-American, a 5-time SEC champion.
She would have lost all of that, if she was going up against men.
Actually, the SEC record holder in the 200 butterfly, making me one of the fastest Americans of all time. A 2-time Olympic trial qualifier, SEC Scholar Athlete of the Year, SEC Community Service Leader of the Year. The list goes on, but again, just to really reiterate, it's a lifelong journey. It's how I met my husband. It's what gave me my lifelong friends. It taught me how to be a leader. It taught me how to set goals and work to achieve those goals. All things that, of course, I'm utilizing in my life now beyond sports. That leadership in Maine, Governor Mills, Democratic leadership really across the nation, that's what they're denying girls and women of. I'm sure you guys saw the clips and the visuals that surfaced following President Trump's executive order signing of this EO, barring men from participating in women's sports within any educational program that receives federal funding. And it was the most amazing thing to be there. And you have all of these young girls. I'm talking 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. They've got their jerseys on, their sports uniforms, their big bows in their hair that they wear on the soccer field. That visual means more to me than I could possibly put into words, and that is what is at stake here. That is who Governor Mills is fighting, not Donald Trump. It's those little girls, and I believe that's sick. It's regressive is what it is. They do this under the guise of progress, indicating we are moving in the positive forward direction. No, what Governor Mills is doing, and again, Democratic governors across the nation, is deeply regressive and utterly misogynistic. Over the past 3 years, I've had the opportunity to speak to countless girls in Maine and again across the country, countless parents, coaches who all virtually say the same thing. Why wouldn't anyone protect my athlete? Why wouldn't anyone protect my daughter? Why wouldn't anyone protect me? I've talked to girls who have
What's up, Jonathan Roseberry?
lost roster spots, of course, podium finishes. I've talked to girls who have been exploited
Brad?
and simultaneously exposed to naked men in intimate areas of undressing. I've talked to girls who have been severely injured in their sports due to a male player on the opposing team. For crying out loud, we have a female representative from Maine, Laura Libby, you just heard from her. She didn't tell you what happened to her. She lost her ability to vote and to speak on the House floor for defending girls and women, for posting about what was happening in Maine. No, this type of oppression didn't happen in Afghanistan. No, this type of censorship didn't happen in England. It happened right here in America under Democratic leadership. Again, this isn't progress. I would describe this as betrayal. Let this be a notice. These actions that we have seen put forward today by the Department of Justice, by the Department of Education, to all other states who are not willing to comply with federal law, that federal law being Title IX, which is very clear in how it was originally implemented, or at least it should be. We never knew we had to define this word sex until these both elected and unelected bureaucrats started to go through the back door and reinterpret this word to mean what they want it to mean. Originally implemented in 1972, it was only 37 words, very brief. Ultimately, of course, preventing sex-based discrimination. Let this be a notice, California, Minnesota, the likes thereof. If you do not comply with federal law, you do not get to reap the benefits of complying with federal law. Of course, one of those benefits being receiving federal funds. Women are protected and recognized under federal law, again, that law being Title IX. The U.S. government under President Trump, including the Department of Justice,
Lisa Ann says we don't even have the right to privacy.
including the Department of Education, will not stand by and ignore when the federally protected rights of women and girls are being violated. Again, that encounter between Governor Mills and President Trump went viral for really all of the right reasons. I think she thought she had this mic drop moment when she said, "I'll see you in court." Guess what? You will, because President Trump is a man of his promises. That was his campaign slogan. That's what we've seen delivered. Promises made, promises kept. This is another one. People, the American people, girls, women, boys, men, old, young, white, black, gay, straight, none of those identity factors matter. We want transparency and we want accountability. Again, we voted overwhelmingly in favor of that on November 5th. And accountability is back in the White House. So I stand before you all today, and I thank you, again, Secretary McMahon, Attorney General Bondi. I thank you on behalf of course, myself, but I think more importantly, my younger sister. of all the women and girls who have dreams, like I did when I was young, to achieve, to succeed in my sport and beyond. So thank you.
Riley, thank you. And Zoe would now like to say something. Tell us about your sport too, Zoe.
So I compete in soccer and indoor track and outdoor track. And like was mentioned previously today, I had to watch at the Maine Class B State Indoor Track Championship as my close friend and my teammate and other female competitors lost the state championship to a biological male. And this was heartbreaking for me to have to watch. And Riley said that it's betrayal, and that's what it is. It is the job of our elected officials to protect our young female athletes, and they have failed to do that. We walk into sports expecting to have a level playing field, and to walk into the state championship to see a biological male there and to lose to a biological male, that's betrayal. And so I am extremely grateful to AG Bondi for standing up for us when our elected officials aren't doing that. And on behalf of the girl athletes in Maine, I just want to say thank you all, and I look forward to having a level playing field back after this fight. So thank you.
And Cassidy wants to say a few words.
My first experience was when I was 13 years old. I was going to change for gym, and I walked into the locker room, and there was a biological male there. From that point on, my junior year, I competed in Nordic skiing and lost to a biological male numerous of times. I am fighting this fight for generations to come. And the fact that our governor can look the women of our state in the eyes and say, I'm not going to fight for you, is heartbreaking, and it's betrayal, like Riley said. I just want to thank all these women standing behind me and President Trump for fighting for us, because even though my own governor isn't fighting for me, I know there are people out there fighting for me.
Thank you, Cassidy. It takes a lot for these young women to be standing up here saying this too. And again, I'm looking at their amazing parents in the front row who have supported them, who I've gotten to know, who are protecting them every step of the way and telling them that they have a voice to stand up for themselves and future generations of young women to come and many athletes. Gates, should we take some questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
Questions?
Mary Margaret, Daily Wire.
Thank you, Attorney General Bondi. I wanted to ask if there's other states that you're focused on. Which ones are next for these types of abuses, including men and women's prisons?
Well, first we're looking at, for this, we're looking at Minnesota, we're looking at California, we're looking at many, many states, but they are the top two that should be on notice because we've been communicating with them. And just like Maine, we're not going out there, we don't want to be suing people, we want them to comply with the law. And that's what we're doing. We have given them opportunity, Maine, an opportunity over and over again. The Department of Education, HHS, they went and sat down with them in person, multiple meetings, and got nowhere. So now this is where we are because they refuse to protect young women in their state. So yes, Minnesota, California, multiple states. As far as prisons, had nothing to do with Title IX. We took away funding from Maine as well. We decided to go a different direction in our grants because we saw one reason they allowed a 6'1", 245 giant man who had violently, no murders, nice, but he had violently murdered his parents with a knife and the family dog, serving life in prison, and he chose to identify as a woman. So guess where he's being housed? In a
Wow, that's crazy.
Female prison in Maine. So therefore, my office, we don't want to give any more money to the Department of Corrections in Maine if that's how they're going to act. We're going a different direction in our funding.
Sadie with the Journal.
Hi there. So Maine's governor yesterday said there were maybe at most 2 trans athletes in Maine schools right now. I just was hoping you could talk a little bit about the sort of amount of federal resources that you're putting into this and why that's worth it given the small impact in Maine. And I have a second off-topic question too. Given that it has some of the same elements as the firebombings of Tesla dealerships that you charged federally and called domestic terrorism. I'm wondering if you would say the arson at Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro's house would also be domestic terrorism and something you would investigate federally, and if not, what constitutes domestic terrorism?
Okay, so first, the on-topic question about the, I haven't heard Janet Mills' comment. Governor Mills said it's only a couple trans athletes. Well, I think those are boys who identify as girls wanting to beat girls in girls' sports. Well, if one young woman is in jeopardy, one, that's enough for us to be standing up here. One, no boy will be undressing in a girl's locker room. No boy will be walking in a woman's restroom. And no boy, when we're finished with this, will be beating young girls in sports. These young women have, many of them have trained, since you were in elementary school for your sport? Riley, when did you start swimming?
Pam Bondi sounds like that lady from the neighborhood that comes around like regulating. You ever had that girl in the hood that came by like regulating everything? Like, no boy is gonna be
4 years old.
4 years old. They have trained their entire lives. Some of them have lost scholarships. They have lost regionals. They have lost state because of boys. I don't care if it's one. I don't care if it's two. I don't care if it's 100. It's going to stop, and it's going to stop in every single state. Tesla. You ask about, yes, Tesla. You ask about, so I spoke to Governor Shapiro. I think you're referring to his governor's mansion. I spoke to him. It is absolutely horrific what happened to him. Kash Patel also spoke to him. We have been praying for Josh, for his family. Those photos, it was horrible. I firmly believe they wanted to kill him. The defendant allegedly said he was going to use a hammer if he could have gotten to the governor. I've known the governor many, many years. It is horrible. And yes, we are working with state authorities to do, it's now a pending investigation, anything we can to help convict the person that did this and keep them behind bars as long as possible.
David?
Two questions, one on topic and one off topic. I'll start with the on topic. Minnesota and California, you mentioned you're looking at them. Are there active investigations into those states? Are there conversations? In which state do you expect to be next based on those conversations?
Both. We have reached out to them. We have sent them letters. We're in the same posture we were in the beginning here with Maine. So let's see what they do. Let's hope they comply. Again, we don't want to sue anyone. We just want you to comply with federal law and protect girls, period. But yes, we are fully prepared to sue them and others that we will be looking at as well.
And then my off topic, big topic over the past few weeks, Kilmar Abrego Garcia in Maryland. He's in a prison now in El Salvador. He was sent there. You insist, the president, everybody in the administration insists that he's MS-13. It appears that there's not going to be any sort of trial. He's not going to come back. DHS said he would be arrested and redeported if he comes back. Why not show the American people the evidence that he's MS-13 so they can make an informed decision? And that goes the same with this Henry Josue Santos, who was picked up in Virginia, who is now presumably going to be deported as well. Why not show the public the evidence?
Well, he is an illegal alien who has been living illegally in our country from El Salvador.
She said, well, he is an illegal alien that's been living in our country illegally. I like Pam Bondi. She's funny.
ICE testified. An immigration judge ruled he was a member of MS-13. An appellate judge ruled he was a member of MS-13. Hard stop. He should not be in our country. He was deported. They needed one additional step in paperwork, but now MS-13 is characterized as they should be, as an FTO, as a foreign terrorist organization. So he is not coming back to our country. President Bukele said he was not sending him back. That's the end of the story. If he wanted to send him back, we would give him a plane ride back. There was no situation ever where he was going to stay in this country. None. He would have come back, had one extra step of paperwork, and gone back again. But he's from El Salvador, he's in El Salvador, and that's where the president plans on keeping him.
But the evidence, we're not going to see the evidence.
We have the transcripts from the court hearings. I'll be glad to give you the court hearings from 2019, what we have, sure. With the rulings from the judges, gladly.
All right, last one, Reagan.
Reagan Reese, Daily Caller. Madam Attorney General, there's a Maine school board, MSA D number 70, which voted unanimously on Monday to defy the governor and to comply with Title IX. With
Britt says she's gaslighting.
the action you're taking today, will it be possible to exempt schools that comply from any future punishment?
Yes. And I think that was very brave and bold of that school board. We just saw that as well. The question was one school board in Maine voted to comply. And again, that's all we wanted was compliance. So yes, we will not be going after them, looking at them in this lawsuit because they are complying and they're protecting women in women's sports.
All right, thank you guys.
Got it?
What y'all think about all that? Like in the comment section, y'all tell me. Somebody said that gray patch she got. What you talking about, man? Hey, we not dissing Pam Bondi. That's the homie. We can't be dissing her, man. What's up with y'all, man? Y'all gotta chill out. Hold on, y'all know what I want to watch? Hold up. You know what I be waiting for? Like Jesse Waters. Jesse Waters is hilarious, bro. But let me see this real quick. Because I heard about this.
In today's
CNN, let's talk about a win for Trump. What?
In today's video, CNN
comes to immigration policy and why Donald Trump's net approval rating a long way on this issue, much closer to Donald Trump, and I think that's a big part of the reason why.
Deport all undocumented immigrants, voters favoring a government effort to deport 11 million, 56%. Yo.
Why Americans are increasingly saying the country is on the right track when it comes to immigration policy and why Donald Trump's net approval rating on that issue is in the positive, very much unlike his first term.
Now, this poll,
I mean, it looked like Trump low-key doing what the people want. Shout out to Magic.
is damaging for Democrats, and I'll explain why in two main reasons. Number one, look at the language of the poll. How many people agree with deporting criminal undocumented immigrants? No, that's not what he asked. How many people agree with deporting all undocumented immigrants? 56%. Point number two on why this is damaging is this is CNN reporting this information. At this point, the American people probably feel that Democrats are more likely to defend illegals and criminals than they are American citizens. And yes, we have an example of that because a stupid debate between Scott Jennings and Congressman Garcia took place yesterday. And it just shows you how the congressman is proving my exact point.
This just confirms what we have believed about the Democratic Party and why it currently has a 21% approval rating in Congress. Look where the energy in the Democratic Party is. It's around retrieving illegal aliens from El Salvador. It's around fighting for these college campuses that have been rife with anti-Semitism. It's around biological males who want to play in girls' sports. This is why they are losing to Donald Trump every day, because the energy that Democrats feel comes on all these issues that are fundamentally not where the American people are.
Congressman, one second. Congressman, can I give you the chance to respond to that?
Donald Trump. Yeah, I mean, it's Donald Trump that's actually losing the support of the American people. Donald Trump's not focused on lowering the costs of housing, not focused on lowering the price of goods. He's out there deporting people that have legal status to be here, revoking student visas from students that are contributing to this country.
He doesn't have legal status to be here, Congressman. He has a deportation order. You're going to go to El Salvador. You're going to go to maybe go to the grocery store. Like, there's an issue here where you could possibly win on, but you're going to El Salvador instead.
There's an issue you could potentially win on, but you're going to El Salvador instead. Like, he be clipping these Democrats, bro.
Someone shouldn't be deported and being left in a prison in a foreign country when the Supreme Court says they should be returned back. And so those are the questions. And by the way, as Democrats and as a Congress and a government, we should be able to do multiple things at the same time. We should be able to take on billionaires who are raiding the government. We should be able to take on Elon Musk, who has no business being in charge of Doge. And yes,
bro, this is like really weird. Like, why are the Democrats so against reducing government spending and fraud. Like, what, like, don't they understand, like, the working class, who they're supposed to be for, like, want their money allocated to, like, you know, proper uses that is not unnecessary? When Elon Musk found out that they were giving money to terrorist organizations and giving like $30 something million over here for condoms in another country and tens of $millions over here for an opera to be performed in another country. Like, when people start finding out that, like, we are looking at the government like, wait a minute. Y'all are more corrupt than we thought y'all were. And then you got Elizabeth Warren trying to oust Elon Musk and trying to assist in getting a federal injunction to stop the dismantling of USAID and trying to get Elon Musk to stop cutting, like, you know, what was going on in the Treasury Department when he did the forensic audit. I'm looking at them like, y'all are some of the most corrupt people I've ever seen in my life. I think one thing that is hurting the Democratic Party, in my opinion, right, is that, like, now that Trump is making this presidency transparent, and I don't care what y'all say, this is the most transparent presidency I've ever seen in my life. Like, when he sits down and he does a bilateral meeting with the lady of, you know what I'm saying, the one he just did, like, today. Like, and then he's doing a meeting with Zelensky and they arguing and they go, like, he's doing all of this in front of you. Meeting with Netanyahu in front of you, talking to him in front of you. Like, it's like, what can y'all say? Y'all have nothing to say. This is why, like, Jesse Waters and people be cooking y'all. Even Bill Maher is starting to turn on the Democratic Party. It's like, y'all have lost all sense of reason. They're just like, oh, we just want Elon Musk to stop. Okay, do you want the people, like, destroying his property? Do you want them to stop? No. Was a Crockett, whatever his name was, right? Cook, whatever his name was, the dude that talks for 25 hours. Out of 25 hours, he did not condemn the actions of people tearing up Elon Musk's property. 25 hours of speaking, he has not done that. I have not heard CNN one time tell people to stop attacking Teslas. Like, why is that? Like, y'all had all of this to say about January 6th. January 16th was terrible. Even though Trump said, go and make your voices be peacefully and patriotically known. That's what Trump said. He never told them to go tear up, like, the Capitol building. But he said, let your voices be known peacefully and patriotically is what he said. But they got all this to say, right? But you can't stop. Like, Elon Musk companies are literally being attacked in real time. Pam Bondi, Department of Justice, had to step in and prosecute these people. And, you know, you got one person facing 40 years, another person facing 20 years. Like, she had to step in and do this. But the media, which I think is powerful, right? They control the minds of a lot of people that believe in them, like, you know what I mean? Without reason. This is how you get people trying to take Trump's life and doing things like that. These people aren't indoctrinated to believe that this dude is a monster. You know what I mean? When I was a Democrat, I thought he was a monster until I started paying attention. I'm like, wait a minute. Y'all been lying to me this whole time. And I'm like, well, what has he done to really be a monster? And I haven't really seen much of anything. The only thing I see, oh, shout out to TikTok, I see you with the hearts, appreciate you. The only thing I see that he's doing is trying to fight for the American citizen. What the Democrats are running on is like, oh, Republicans, all they care about is the rich people. Okay, well, Donald Trump said no taxes on overtime, no taxes on tips. Kamala Harris parroted that. Trump said it first. And then she comes along saying that. How come y'all didn't do that when y'all was just in office for the past 4 years? And Trump had to say something about it. So now y'all can't even say he's just for the billionaires and the millionaires, right? Because he actually, in his tax plan, he's trying to close up loopholes for the billionaires that own sports teams. So it's like, you can't even say this dude is like all for the millionaires and billionaires. Oh, well, the stock market just went down. That was a coup, you know, and this happened so the billionaires can buy up stocks cheaper. And this is why he was trying to push tariffs. You could have bought stocks too when they went down. So that makes no sense. You can't really argue he's doing that. So when you really get down to business, it's like he's working for the American people. What they elected him for, they gave him like it's basically they gave him like ultimate. This is what it is. This is how Americans feel. Like you about to have I'm not gonna say a clean sweep, but you about to have a very popular vote. This is a mandate. We need a change in this country. And he's taking that serious. He is not trying to leave his grandkids a corrupted country. That's why I think he did this. 79 years old. He don't have to do this. This dude worth like $6.5 billion or more. You don't have to do this. Don't you think he would rather be on a yacht chilling somewhere than to be dealing with people trying to take him out? Or the fake news, like creating all of these false narratives over and over again, lying over and over. Don't you think he probably doesn't want to deal with that? Every time you turn on the news, it's another lie about you. But he's choosing to do this because he doesn't want his grandkids and kids to be left this mess. Did y'all see the Hunter Biden conspiracy? Thug Life, what? That laptop, the information that's floating around on Twitter, you can't even show that. That's how bad it is. And Biden gave him a pardon. Dr. Fauci got a pardon. People's voices were being silenced by the government. Mark Zuckerberg went on Joe Rogan podcast and told everything about how the government was like he was getting calls from them threatening him to remove posts, even memes. The Twitter file shows that the government was trying to get people's accounts suspended and like all of that. That's just crazy. And then we see Kamala Harris said, oh, well, there needs to be government intervention on social media. Her and Hillary Clinton said that. Because Twitter is out of control. And there's no government oversight. Even John Kerry did a little seminar talking about how detrimental free speech is. And these are the people that y'all choose to champion? That is crazy to me. And this guy has a problem with the government trying to be efficient. When is the last time y'all went to a federal building? If you had to go there, if you had to get a social security card, anything, you lost it. They treat you like you're a criminal when you walking up in there. The buildings ain't for you. And they want more of this bloat, more like this is crazy, bro. Like, no, I agree with Trump. Like, shut down these agency departments that are not necessarily or needed. Patel, I agree with that. Hey, FBI agents, y'all get out there and actually fight crime. What y'all doing? All these government workers sitting at home collecting crazy money. We got people 300-something years old getting Social Security checks. And he mad about it. This dude right here is mad about Elon Musk trying to stop that. We need to get Elon Musk out of this. Because he's uncovering what y'all didn't do. It's protect the American people's money. Y'all want to give it to Zelensky, 200-something billion plus. And then Zelensky went ahead and snitched on y'all. He said, yo, I only got $70 billion of that money. Where's the other 100 billion? Didn't he just say that, snitching on y'all? Y'all misappropriating, losing money left and right. Don't know where the money going. Y'all gave this dude $100-something billion. Was it close to 300 billion? Y'all gave him all of them billions of dollars of our money. No minerals attached. No deals. Like, even Europe is smart enough to say, okay, we're going to give you money, Zelensky, but we're going to do it in a loan. You know what I'm saying? A 30% loan. We ain't just giving you money. And we weren't smart enough to do that. We're sitting here policing, protecting all these countries. We owe them money. We have deficits with money. That's what I think the whole tariff thing was about. Like, no, because a lot of people came to the table. What is it? 75 plus countries came to the table trying to negotiate with Trump. The people that didn't do retaliatory tariffs. They came trying to negotiate with Trump, right? And he said, okay, because y'all didn't do retaliatory tariffs, it's just going to be a 10% tariff across the board. That ain't that bad for the people that didn't do that. And now some people trying to go 0 for 0 tariff. Europe wanted to do 0 for 0 tariff, and they wanted to reduce their tariffs on automobiles from 10% down to 2.5% on automobile imports coming into Europe. But Trump said, nah, I ain't trying to do no deal with y'all. We owe y'all money. Why do we owe y'all money? We shouldn't have a deficit with y'all. Y'all figure out how to fix that. Yo. The power in that and standing firm on it in the media, answering questions, not running from nothing. I love it. And people will say, oh, well, how can we do no taxes on overtime and no taxes on tips? Well, you got to get the money from somewhere. I don't think tariffs is such a bad thing. I don't. That's how they used to get money back in the day. McKinley got money. Remember when they was trying to fight off the British and figure out like economic ways to like, keep the British at bay? They used tariffs to do it. Why is all these other people gonna have tariffs on us when we can't have nothing on nobody? And then we constantly going into the red. We got $36 trillion in debt. And these Democrats don't want the spending to stop. Does that make sense to y'all? Elon Musk said the interest rate on our debt is more than the military budget. So basically, you can't stop the effect of the interest. We're spiraling out of control and going to go bankrupt as a country. It has to stop. So Trump's got to he's not doing quantitative easing the Ben Bernanke way. He ain't doing none of that. He's tightening up the bootstraps of America and said, we not spending all this money that we don't have to spend no more. Are y'all mad? Y'all was just complaining that these illegals were in Colorado extorting people from their rent money. Y'all were just complaining about that. Are people coming over here and they own like, like scooters, popping people in New York, all of that crazy stuff going on from other countries doing that. Like they be doing in South America, Brazil and all of that. They come in here doing it. And y'all complaining, why is the police helping and nobody doing it? Well, people have been holding the police's hands behind their back to where they can't do nothing. I wonder why. We finding out these hotels, nice resort hotels, are getting $90 million to house illegal immigrants. This is crazy, bruh. Then you find out Eric Holder is giving these people $350 a week in food vouchers. It's $1,400 a month in free food. Yeah, I'm going to another country and somebody gonna do that. Why would they not come there? Trump stopping all of that. Y'all in New York paying like crazy money to live. And you got these people getting free money. Y'all don't feel no type of way about that? It's crazy. Y'all be listening to people like him.
Protecting the civil rights and human rights of people that are in this country and entrusted to us. And so, yes, Scott, we can do all of those things. And it's Donald Trump who actually defined the Supreme Court and whose numbers are going down.
Yeah, so he's right. Congress should be able to do all those things, but he left one thing out that I would find to be probably the most.
Hold on. Thug life. And they get mad like African Americans are turning Republican. Bro, I looked at my birth certificate. It did not say Democrat nowhere on it. I even checked my Social Security. I'm like, does the back of it say Democrat or something? Because all the black people, it ain't say Democrat nowhere on it. Because I'm like, I don't be thinking how these Democrats think. Like, no. And you ever think, like, bro, go to a Democratic ran city and look how the city looks. Look at all the taxes. You paying taxes on like paper bags. You paying taxes on plastic bags. You paying taxes out the wazoo. It's crazy. The roads be tore up. But the politicians' houses get bigger and bigger. Then you go to a Republican state where they all want to move to. All the Democrats want, oh, California's too expensive. New York's too expensive. I don't want to live here no more. Then they go to the Republican ran states. Oh, I love it here. How are you voting? Oh, I'm voting Democrat. Why are you voting Democrat? Didn't you just leave a place that you couldn't afford? Some of the top, most expensive places to live are Democratic places. high property taxes. Stay there if you're going to vote the same. That's why I'll be looking, bro. I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, thug life. I don't care. Like, I'll be at the grocery store and I might look at somebody who might be putting groceries in there. And I talk to people like California, you know, I'm like, why'd you move here? Oh, for music. And I'm like, okay, like, I'm like, are you a musician? They're like, no, I just like music. You didn't move to a whole new city because you like music? Oh, well, it's really expensive in Cali. I ain't gonna even lie. I had to sell my house and leave. Oh, I'm like, oh, where you working at now? Oh, I don't have a job. Oh, you bought a house? Yeah, I bought a house. How much was your house? Oh, I spent like $700,000 on a house in Nashville. It's in a real nice neighborhood. They living like in Franklin, Cool Springs, baller ass places, working at gas stations. And I'm like, yo, how is you doing that? They like, oh, because, you know, in here it's cheaper to live. And, you know, all that money, I just bought a house. I just bought it outright. So, okay, so it's cheaper to live and everything, but you want to vote Democrat? It's crazy, bro. Insanity.
It's important, that is protect actual American citizens like Lincoln Riley or Rachel Morin as an example. That's how disconnected Democrats are.
Can I ask the congressman one question? Do you believe that Garcia should come back to the United States and be allowed to live here indefinitely?
I think that Garcia is allowed to due process. That's what I believe.
Do you think he should be?
Rudy is on TikTok. He said, I'm from Denver and it's a joke here. I went to Denver, Colorado. Denver, Colorado is beautiful though. I ain't gonna even lie. Hey y'all, hey you too. I went to Denver, Colorado. That's one of my favorite places in the world, thug life. Like, bro, Boulder, Colorado is nice. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's nice out there, bro. I ain't gonna even lie. The mountains is crazy, bro. But I mean, I wouldn't want like all them no, like illegals running around trying to take my money, bro. Like, and then like they like this how the Democrats will have the laws on you, right? So they will allow these people to do all of this. I'm not saying they will allow, you know what I mean? Like they sanction it or nothing like that. But these people, these criminals, these MS-13s, all these like these gang members are like in your neighborhood, but you can't carry a gun. You know what I'm saying? Like some of these places you can't carry a gun, or you can only have 5 rounds. Living in New York and California, something crazy. You know what I mean? Like you can't defend yourself. You be like, what? That's why I will never like. I'm not gonna say ever. That's why I don't want to leave like Tennessee, because it's like, bro, like they like, hey, somebody come to your house, do what you gotta do. Somebody try to jack you, take your car, do what you gotta do. You walking down the street, somebody try to rob you, do what you gotta do. You know what I'm saying? Like it's, bro, if MS-13 come up, try to act, do what you gotta do. You know, but you go to these Democratic states, they don't want you to defend yourself. It's crazy.
Able to stay in the United States indefinitely, or would you support him being sent to another country?
What I would support is for him to be able to have due process in this country, which he's being denied of right now.
Well, last time I checked, due process.
Somebody said, who wants to live in a cheaper place? Me. So I got more money. You know what I mean? I got 3 Teslas. I got a Model Y, a Model 3, and a Cybertruck. You think I'll be able to afford that living in New York? No. I got a house. I got a little house behind my house. Like, you don't like that? You don't like having land? You don't like your roads looking nice? You don't like police patrolling, making sure stuff don't... You don't like carrying a blick if it legally, and if you need to use it, you can... You know what I'm saying? You don't like that? I don't understand. you don't like rights. That's what it is.
For Democrats, mean illegals.
I was talking to my son, like, last what was it, a couple months ago, and I had to like get him right, and I'm just like, yo, you know, the difference between Democrats and Republicans, like, this is what Republicans believe, this is what Democrats believe, right? And I'm like, sometimes with people, they will try to take your rights away for convenience. You know what I mean? And you know, and people don't want to deal with the consequences of certain things, or whatever. But you know, you got rights. You know, you want to keep your rights. And it was like, I can't remember what it was. We was in, I think it was not what was it? Like, Gallatin, Tennessee or something. And it was just like a place, you know what I mean? It was like a Democratic ran place, like no guns allowed. And I still have my Blake. I don't care. Like, you don't supersede the state. You know what I mean? And he was just like, well, why? He's like, you shouldn't do that. Because I'm like, no, I have a right to carry. I'm like, you don't give up your rights. You know what I mean? Because of a little business. You choose not to go in that business, or you keep your rights. You know what I mean? Like, I had to get on to him about that. Like, don't let these businesses and companies and all of this like influence to get your right because you want a convenience to go in that store right now. Like, no, I want my rights. If you want to infringe on my rights, you don't want my money.
Get to stay in this country indefinitely. That's what that means. And that's not my opinion. That's what the results show. We know what Joe Biden did. And we know that every single Democrat went along with it.
Somebody said, you think Trump is going to give you all them rights? He's not trying to take away gun rights. That looked like something that the Democrats was trying to do. That's what they're trying to do. This is how Democrats try to take away your gun rights, right? Oh, we want to restrict the magazine. We want to take this particular gun away. We want to take that. They trying to take the ones away that if they ever came at you, if the government ever decided to turn on the people, you don't have the right artillery to be able to defend yourself. Those are the ones they trying to take away. This is what they do. And they slowly chip away. Oh, we need more, what do they call background check? How many background checks you gonna do? I don't think criminals be going and doing background checks before they break into your house. I don't think a criminal gotta pass a background check to, you know what I'm saying, to pull out on you at a light. You know what I'm saying? Try to take your car. Like, what is it's different? It's like, how many background checks? Like, trying to do so much we can't get it. That's what it is.
With it, even though they knew how much of a burden it was financially and clearly when it comes to crime on these cities. That's why you saw Mayor Eric Adams continue to speak out against this nonsense yesterday on CNN. Now, last night, Shermichael Singleton doubled down on this point that, yes, illegal migrants are owed due process, but don't get it twisted. If they are criminals, especially when they're part of a foreign terrorist organization.
Those guys said we don't have universal background checks. You know, like these Democratic people continue like in different states and all these House of Representative people and all of that. Do you know that they're the ones that are trying their best to put together laws to stop you?
They're gone.
I think it is a political issue. I also think it's a national security issue. Prince George's County in 2019, their gang unit determined that Garcia was an MS-13 gang member.
But I gotta get up out of here, y'all. Shout out to everybody for checking in. Shout out to everybody on TikTok. 1,000 likes on TikTok. Shout out to everybody on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? We got like 200 subscribers. Appreciate y'all. But I'm out. Come rate, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think about that. And think for yourself. If you feel like you're a Democrat, you're a Democrat. I can't. You know what I'm saying? I'm not bullying nobody, doing nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all, you know what I mean? If you feel like you're a Republican, you're a Republican. You feel like you're independent, you're independent. You know what I'm saying? In my comment section, you can have your opinion. I'm not just going to read Republican opinions. I'm going to read all opinions. But in my personal opinion, in my life, where I am, what I be seeing, Republicans seem like it's the way to go. You know what I'm saying? But I'm out. Come rate, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think about that.